Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom. His brother Uriah, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashim Mashiach, Malak Yahushua. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers that go out there and labor on the highways and byways, making their body a living sacrifice. In the rain, the tumults, the demons, the uprises, the uproars, they out there standing 10 toes down for the name of the Lord. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers that are not out there as of yet, but they're building themselves up, reading, praying, fasting, right, doing everything they could do to put themselves in a position to shake the hand and wake up the hopeful elect. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty Akwaf in this thing that sincerely reverence their husbands, being teachers of good things to the children at home, being quiet, shamefaced, submissive, loving, steadfast, cooking someone clean, and doing all of the righteous acts for our foremothers on fire for the Lord. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty Akwaf that are not married as of yet, but building themselves up, reading, praying, fasting, doing everything they could do to magnify the Most High in the ministry. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty children in this thing, man. Right on fire, abstaining from all lust, concupiscence, and peer pressure, standing 10 toes down for the name of the Lord. And last but not least, another strong shalom to the 12 tribes, scattered abroad, reading, praying, fasting, magnifying the Most High, his beloved son, Yahushua. All right, this is going to be an in-depth breakdown on the slothful demon, the slothful spirit. Because a lot of brothers, in Israel, they deal with the slothful demon. This is one of the chief demons that the Heavenly Father has created. This is not a light demon. It's not a small demon or something to be taken lightly. This demon, right, possesses the ability to withdraw you from the Heavenly Father. And the more you continue to bask in the spirit, opening the door for the spirit, having the spirit to lay up in your house, meaning your temple, where you're okay with these things, the stronger that spirit is going to get. So it essentially sifts you out of this truth, man. Right? Let me see on my screen. Give me a strong con, right? If brothers can see the screen. Give me a strong con if brothers can see the screen. All right, let's go to the mighty book of Romans. Right, let's get the mighty book of Romans. And brothers got to really start to identify with examination these demons and these spirits. Stop just banking and thinking that, I was tired. Or you know what, maybe next week. Or I'm having a problem with my marriage. Or you know what, my father, he's sick. Or you know what, I'm having trials and tribulations in my family and my household. None of that has anything to do with you not reading. None of that has anything to do with you not fasting. None of that has anything to do with you not being fervent in the spirit. What if all of our fathers weren't fervent in the spirit when temptation hit, man? What would that do to our faith? How would that impact us? Seeing Abraham fail all the time. Isaac fail all the time. Jacob fail all the time, man. Even our Lord Yahweh Shai fail all the time. You know what that would do to our spirit? Us reading the scriptures? Well, I could fall too. They did it. See, somebody's always watching you, man. A son's always watching a father, right? A younger brother's always watching an older brother. Brothers in the congregation always watching you. And we're always looking at our fathers for hope, man. The things that they've done, the battles that they've wrought, the strong mind and mentality that they possess, it instills in us to this very day. This is the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. So these accounts aren't just written, because the scribes and the Heavenly Father, Ba'ashem Yahushua, had nothing else to do. These things were written so that when we're going through stress and the problems that they exactly went through, man. Peter was poor. A lot of men were poor. A lot of men were lame, was filled with Seth. Just because you're having back problems, you can't walk. None of these things have anything to do with anything, man. Look how Gideon made excuses. I'm the least of my father's house, and I am poor. What does that have to do with anything? The Lord's calling you to rise up and work, man. See, working to a slothful man is something that he would hate to do. You hate that alarm clock in the morning. You dread getting up out of the bed. Your mind's lacking. You're still dizzy. You're drunk. Barely want to put on your clothes. You don't wake up to 10 o'clock. And you don't woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Man just wants to sleep all day. Man wants to relax. Man wants his flesh to feel good. It's not about you. It says that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. And a lot of brothers are slothful, chiefly because they're not reading the scriptures. That's giving them hope. that's increasing their patience, that's building them up. See, the farther you drift away from the Lord, right, the more you're going to make excuses. The more the spirit of zeal, compassion, right, and just outright fire and fervency in the spirit is going to kindle down. Let's go to the mighty book of Sirach, chapter 19. This Sirach, chapter 19, right, in verse number 1. A laboring man that is given to drunkenness. Now, what does a laboring man do? He's building. He's building a house, a castle, right? He's building some type of carpentry. He's watching to finish a work. A laboring man that's given to drunkenness. What's drunkenness, man? It's not always talking about a bottle. It's not always talking about a woman, man. See, drunkenness is manyfold. Anything that can have your mind at ease away from the task at hand is included in drunkenness, man. People get drunk in this world, drunk in partying, drunk in reveling, right? Drunk in physical wine and access, man. Drunk off of women, drunk off of sleep. Anything that can have you shaking to and fro in a relaxed state of mind is something that has you by sorcery, man. The Lord says, wake up all throughout the scriptures. A laboring man. Who is that laboring man? It's really the elect, man. So you have to watch to finish your work. It doesn't matter what you've done. Anybody driving on the side of the road, seeing all of those carpentries and those masons and all of those men and the construction workers, they're building a house. What you're going to do is you're going to drive by every single day throughout work. You're going to see them day by day, day by day. And guess what? That doesn't impress you. Nobody cares that they've laid the beam. Nobody cares all of the wood or how many stories it is. They're going to care and say, oh, that looks beautiful. That looks good when it's finished. Nobody cares that that man is risking his life on top of that roof, man. You got to look at it spiritually. Stop thinking you have your crown because you went on a 2-day fast last week. That was last week. You being a teacher, that was last month. What works are you bringing forth today? What spirit are you in today? Because if Yahweh came with the holy angels today, by your works would you be justified, man, through his mercy? Or will you be condemned and destroyed? Because the Lord is not going to look and open up an ancient scroll of all of your old works from 2000, right, and 14, 2020, 2021. You're judged to be fervent on spirit from the time you begin to be in his truth to the time you're redeemed. It says, shall not be rich. What is true riches? The substance, right, of the kingdom of heaven. And he that contemneth small things shall fall by little and little. So what's contemning small things, man? Not today, tomorrow, procrastination. It's okay. It's not that serious. These are delusions that are entering into your mind. These are spirits, demons. And demons don't always have to look, right, like people want them to. Right? This is not a demon. This is a cartoon character, right? Don't let the world make a demon out to be something you can physically always recognize and see, man. A demon, chiefly, right, you can't see. It's invisible. It's a thought. It enters into your mind. And it seemingly through the flesh tells you the truth. That's not your friend. Yeah, I really didn't like him for real, for real. You might be right. Man, your back does hurt. Stop being over righteous. Didn't the doctor say you need 10 hours of sleep? Yeah, I mean, I do gotta catch up, man. I do owe it to myself. Your woman out of line, your husband out of line, man, forget them, man. Get a new wife. You know what? F him. These are spirits that are working on men's flesh and men's minds, sifting them out, man. And when, like I said, one of the chief spirits that the Heavenly Father has created is the slothful demon. Let's go to the mighty book of Genesis. It's the mighty book of Genesis, right? Chapter 26. It's Genesis chapter 26, and I'm going to start at verse number 15. It says, in all the wells which his father servants had digged in the days of Abraham, his father, the Philistines had stopped them. That's spiritual because Abraham didn't have water spewing up out of the ground because he was Abraham. What did Abraham have to do and his servants? They had to work. You had to dig, and you had to dig to get a well. Right, let me pull this up real fast. Digging for a well. See, digging for a well says drilling with a boring bit or driving, right, which involves pounding a hollowed heavy pipe into the ground. Driven wells are typically 30 to 50 feet deep. And they had literally machinery that is looking at right now. Abraham and his servants didn't have machinery, man. They had to really get down and dig a pit, man. You know how hard that is to dig a pit? Then you have to climb out of the pit. And they were digging for what? For water. And that's spiritual, man. So Abraham and his servants, they digged wells, but the Philistines, they stopped them up, right? And that's spiritual because demons are going to try to stop your works. You went on a fast. They're trying to covet and stop all of your works that you're doing. Right here, you are on fire. They're trying to throw water on your flames. Here you are trying to do more and more and increase more and more. And demons are trying to kindle that fire. It says, and fill them with earth, right? It says, and Abimelech said unto Isaac, go from us, right? For thou art mightier than we. And Isaac departed thence and pitched his tent in the valley of Gegar and dwelt there. And Isaac digged again the wells of water. So when Isaac saw that the Philistines stopped up all of the holes, right, what did he do? Did he give up? I'll never be able to overcome. I'll never be able to continue to dig. Just because you had a bad week, right? Spirits have overcame you on Tuesday, and now it is Friday. You're still in that mentality of a defeatist mentality, man. Just because you went off, right? Not that you should, but we all fall short, doesn't mean that very next day you can't pick up your head and go hard in this truth, man. These are spirits working on your mind to pull you away. You're not good enough. You'll never be like this brother. You haven't even fasted this week. These are all wicked thoughts that are beating down your mind constantly over and over and over, telling you you're not a king, man. You're not a prince. You're not an heir to the kingdom of God. It says, which they had digged right in the days of Abraham, his father, for the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham. And he called their names after the names by which his father called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley and found there a well, right, of springing water. So when you dig and you continue to work and go hard, what do you eventually find, man? A well of springing water. That's spiritual, man. You may be seeking the Lord or seeking a parable or breakdown, and your back is against the wall and your spirit it isn't finding what it seeketh. But more you continue to work, you're going to find that gold, man. You have different men, right? They have gold miners. Well, let me pull this up real fast. They have something called gold mining. Now, these men, they risk their lives digging and digging and digging until they find gold. They risk their life because the thing could collapse on them. They're breathing in all type of toxins, dust, mercury, zinc, whatever things that are mixed in with that gold, clay, mire, and all of these things they're inhaling. Their back hurts. They can literally get trapped in there, but they continue to work for a carnal treasure, man. And this really doesn't look like, certain things would even lead you to gold, right? You go down the wrong gold mine and all you see is rocks, right? All you see is crevice, cave. You don't see any end to this thing, but yet you're still digging. You're being what? You're being hopeful. If a man in his flesh, carnally, could dig and risk his life for carnal riches that are not even riches, how much more the kingdom of heaven, man? See, brothers don't want to work. Brothers don't want to sweat. See, our fathers before us, and I'm not talking about in the ancient time, just your father or your grandfather or your great grandfather, they actually went under the car and worked on the engine. They actually changed that light bulb before they called the mechanic. It was pride in working, man. For your woman to bring you a glass of Kool-Aid, man, right? A glass of lemonade, right? For somebody to say, man, you did a good job on that lawn. It's pride in working, man. Hey, the Lord said, let me get this quick precept in Galatians. The Lord even speaks about that, man, in Galatians. Let me get this quick precept. It's Galatians chapter 6, right? And verse 4. But let every man prove his own work. So every man has to prove his own work. And then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone and not in another. So the more you work, you can rejoice in the things that you've labored for, man. That's why this crown is going to be so sweet to the elect. Everlasting life is going to be so sweet to the elect. Hard working desires rest. What's the true rest? The kingdom of heaven. So Isaac never stopped. He continued to dig. He continued to dig. He continued to dig until eventually he got his spur of living waters. That's spiritual, man. Let's go to the mighty book of Sirach. Let's go to Sirach. I'm going to start at 38, and I'm going to get verse 27, right? It says, so every carpenter and workmaster that laboreth night and day. So you have carpenters, workmasters, right? They labor night and day. Night and day they're working. Night and day they're sweating. Night and day they're measuring. Night and day they're putting together nails, bulwarks. They putting together these things, measurements, architectural layouts. Night and day to do what? To finish a work. You can't creep into this truth, look around and see all that's good for you, dibble and dabble in a little bit and leave like a thief in the night, man. You know, different than a roach or a rat coming to get what they want in the midst of the night and fleeing back to God knows where, man. It says, and they cut the grave seals and are diligent to make a great variety and give themselves to counterfeit imagery to watch and finish a work. The smith also, by sitting by the anvil and considering the iron work. So he sitteth and he considereth. What does that mean, man? When you're building up your house, your marriage, your friendships, your congregation, whatever you're building up yourself through the spirit, man, right? Because you're a temple. You have to consider what needs to be done. And don't ever think that it's too hard. I can't do it. I don't have the proper tools to do it, man. Because what about David? David had men to build his house and use the supplies right from Haran and Tyre. And that's spiritual because David had help building his house. Nobody's just going to be perfectly built as a castle by himself. You're going to have men that help, man. You're going to have counselors. You're going to have people that give you precepts. You're going to have people that get on you, man. You're going to have people that smite you, that hold you up, that uplift you, that smote you on the chest, man, that grab you up. All of this is shaping and shifting your house and moving it in ways that it needs to be moved, man. Because if you stay the same, all that rain beating on your house, right, because you have repairs. And if your house isn't constantly repaired or going for its checkup, it could shift by the terrain, right, of the seasons and eventually be off course. In the next 10 years, the next 12 years, the foundation start to crack. It says, and the vapor of the fire wasteth his flesh, and he fighteth with the heat of the furnace. The noise of the hammer and the anvil is ever in his ears. So this is ever in his ears ringing. He's beating that hammer. He's beating that anvil, man. You think somebody really wants to hear that? Think somebody really wants to hear the noise of an anvil? No. People risk their lives, man. You have people that, let me get this quick visual real quick. You got actual plumbers, right, that go in holes. There are mice back here, cockroaches back here, you know. Could be wild beasts that have been in your walls, that have laid feces all round about. But they have to break open a wall. They have to get to the problem. See, a lot of people, they can't get through that wall. They're looking at the wall, okay, that's just paint over it, man. That's paint over the wall, right? And then you put a picture on top and you're covering up leaven. You're covering up wickedness, right? You're covering up what the real problem is, man. And I've said this before in the past. Sometimes you got to just tell yourself, I've been slothful, man. I've been going off. The more you just say, oh, next week, right? You're covering your transgressions. You're covering your sin, man. You're hiding your transgressions in your womb, right? In your bosom, like Adam did. What you want to do is you want to own up to what's going on. You want to smote upon your chest and lay it all out in the line. Because then with laying it all out in the line, you can examine how wicked you've actually been, man. How slothful you've actually been. Because you can't perceive how slothful you've been if you keep rubbing and massaging yourself into this mindset that it's not that serious. So you have to break open the wall like the plumbers do. What else do they have to do? They have to really go through each and every pipe. Water's flying everywhere. They're getting wet. They barely could see. This is when you're actually getting to the root of the problem, man. And that's spiritual. Because when all hell starts breaking loose and you examine it, it breaks you down. Brother might cry. Brother might really just sit there and sulk. Brother might beat on his chest. This is a heavy matter. Why? Because it's a disconnect in your house. If this tool didn't get connected, what's going to happen over time? That water and that flood is going to overtake all of the foundation and it's going to all crumble eventually, man. If you don't get to the root of this problem, man, you have to get into the things you can't see. Now, what is this spiritually? Right? That's your spirit. Because a brother can't see your spirit. A brother can only see a door, a wall. You understand? He can see things on the outward. The outward looks good, but what about the inward? What about the inward man? A lot of brothers are children at heart. They aren't serious. They don't have any discipline, right? All they want to do is spend money on games and toys and things that they want to do. They're children. They don't apply what they need for what they actually can help them. And this is spiritual because, I mean, obviously this is carnal, but spiritually, this is a soul. You have to dig deep inside to see what's really the root of the problem. Let's go to the mighty book, right, of Matthew. Go to Matthew chapter 20 and verse number 1. It says, for the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is in householding, right, which went out early in the morning. See, early in the morning is spiritual. Whenever work is to be done, like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the prophets, it's always done early in the morning. Why? Because the Lord is not with a slothful, sleeping in man. That's spiritual in itself. Right, let me get this quick precept in Genesis. Our fathers didn't wake up in the middle of the night, right? They didn't wake up at 12 o'clock noon, right? Let me get this quick precept. This is the mighty book of Genesis, right? Chapter 22 and verse number 3. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass. Now, Abraham wasn't sleeping all day. When there's work to be done, you wake up early. That's spiritual. So when Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to hire people in his vineyard, he's doing it early. So while you're sleeping in, you're missing out on all the work that can be done. Let me get another quick precept, the book of Jeremiah. Because if you call yourself a prophet and a man of the Lord, you have to wake up early in the morning, right? That's not that much carnal than it is spiritual. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 44 and 4. Howbeit, I sent unto you all my servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them. So if you're a prophet, what do you have to do? You have to rise early. Where everybody's sleeping, belching, farting, relaxing, scratching, laughing, joking, drinking, smoking, and all right being slothful and gluttony, the prophets are doing what? They're sacrificing their time of sleep. They're waking up early in the morning for things that have to be done. See, a lot of brothers, I don't have time. And they look at their watch. They make excuses. Time management. And they always talk about time management. But you don't sacrifice. Yeah, we don't have that much time. Therefore, it should be that much more precious, man, for you to waste it. You're wasting it on things like what? Walking around, getting drunk, watching TV shows, binge watching. Look at how you spend your time, man. You spend at least 8 hours of work. Some brothers 10, some brothers 12. Brothers got families. Got to spend time with your children. Got to spend time with your wife. Got to spend time with the brotherhood. Got to spend time with the Lord. I mean, you got to really evaluate how much time you're dwindling and wasting away. It says, rising early and sending them, saying, oh, do not this abominable thing which I hate. Let me get one more on rising up early. The Most High speaks heavily on a man that gets up, man. It's about his business. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 32, right? And I'm going to start at Salakia, verse 11. Rise up bedtimes. What does that mean? Get up. Stop being slothful. Get up in the morning, man. Do something. Put your hand to the plow. Why would you wait in the middle of the day to start working where they have people that have been up 7 hours before you, have done twice more than you? That's spiritual too. Rise up bedtimes and be not the last. Meaning what, man? When you were a child and you have siblings, I remember this one time, right? I was at my mother's house when I was younger, and I came downstairs late, right? I was in the world, I was younger, right? I came downstairs late. I see my brother at the dinner table. It was in the morning. He was eating. And he was eating, he was giving me eye contact, like, yeah, I'm eating. And I come downstairs, I see my mom sitting down there, and I'm sitting up there like, why ain't nobody waking me up, man? Where my food at? And I was pissed off. I remember that. My mother ain't cooked me nothing. I ain't have nothing. And my brother just eating in my face. Right. And later on that day, me and my brother, we got into it, we got in each other's face. We damned about to fight. My mother had to break us up. All hell started breaking loose. But I was pissed off, looking back at it for no apparent reason. I should have got up. I should have made sure I had something to eat, man. You can't look at what you don't have and be mad at it, man, because it's you that didn't labor for it. You didn't work harder for it, man. In that day of judgment, you can't say, well, I didn't have a congregation. Drive to one. Start one, man. You can't say, well, it wasn't enough time. Wake up earlier. Stop making excuses. It's in the scriptures. The Lord said, rise up and be not the last, but get thee home without delay. Meaning what? Don't be out all night long, man. What's in the streets at night? Liquor, violence, right? Adultery, drugs, and all right things that are going to keep you up at night so that you can't wake up early in the morning. So going back to Matthew 20, for the kingdom of heaven is likened to a man that is in householding, right? Yahweh Shem Yahushua, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. So brothers got to understand, you are now hired. You are an employee and you work for Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. That's not a light matter, man. So you could come in work late for your boss. You could duck off, right? You could take 1,000 breaks, but you can't do that with the work of the Lord. Let me get this quick precept. You are actually an employee when you work for the Lord, man. He has hired you. Let's go to First Chronicles chapter 9. It's First Chronicles chapter 9, right? And I want to get this quick precept. Verse 33, right? It says, and these are the singers, chief of the fathers of the Levites, who remaining in the chambers were free, for they were employed in that work day and night. Said they were employed, meaning the Lord hired them to go hard in the spirit. They were employed doing this work day and night. It wasn't something you could clock out doing. So this job you can't clock out. Being a mother, you can't clock out, man. Children are always screaming. Children always need to be changed. See, a mother can't clock out. A servant of the Lord can't clock out. A Levite can't clock out. Don't be a hireling. You're only in this for a season and an appointed time to get paid carnally. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, we all agreed. A penny, right, is a dirham, right, in the Roman Empire, which was worth 10 asses, which is a day's work, right? Later changed, right, to more, but nevertheless, during this time, it was a penny a day, not a physical penny, but a day's hire. And we've been hired. It says he sent them into his vineyard, right? It says, and he went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. Who is the he, the Most High? Through his son Yahweh Shai. He's looking around and seeing who's idle, who needs to be picked up, who needs to work. So the Lord's going throughout his garden, meaning the nation, and seeing brothers smoking, drinking, relaxing, doing mischief. And he said, look, I could hire that man. I can use him. I can use her. And he's hiring people. He's bringing them to work. It says, and he said unto them, go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, I will give you. And they went their way. Again, he went about the sixth, right? And the ninth hour and did likewise. And about the 11th hour, he went out and found others standing idle and said unto them, why stand ye here all the day idle? Look, what are you doing, man? Don't you know all hell is about to break loose? Don't you know this place is about to be finished? Then said unto him, because no man hath hired us. And he said unto them, go ye also in the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, right, shall ye receive. So the Lord is hiring men. He's showing you over and over throughout the scriptures that he wants a hardworking man. Look at Jacob. Jacob was hardworking, man. He got finessed by Laban, but he still put in another 7 years for something he wanted. Look at Isaac, man. Isaac stopped through the Philistines, dug back up those wells, right, that he could have a spring of living water. Look at Abraham, man. Abraham had to travel all throughout the Chaldees and Haran, right, into the promised land. These are the things our fathers have done through hard work. Hard work. Look at Noah, man. Noah built the gopher wood, where everybody was laughing and drinking and marrying, right? And in this world, he had a mind to work. Everybody works, right? That receives that reward, right? Faith without works is dead. Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 25, and verse number 24, right? And it reads, then he which have received 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, right? I know that you're off steer, reaping where thou hast not sown. Meaning the Lord don't have to put a seed down to take what's his, because every spirit, right, that a man possess is all governed by Yahweh Shem Yahushua. He's the one that moved you to do that. So it don't have to be him that sowed that seed. You're working for him. So all essential reward goes to him. Gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid and went and hid thy talent in the earth. You know, all you sisters that have the ability to do more, do it, man. Because what are you doing? You're hiding your talent. If you could cook, if you could sew, right? Even being submissive and loving, giving arms, right? Brothers that possess the spirit to teach, to go harder for exhortation, do that. That's actually a spiritual gift. When you hide the opportunity to do good and do well, what are you doing? You're dimming your light of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Now look at it spiritual, man. Hey, Ariah, what are you doing? Don't worry about it. Ariah, what are you doing? Here I got a spiritual wrench in my hand, and I have this spiritual note butt, and I'm cranking it down, and I'm just getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, man. You know, the brother will call me wicked. Brother may damn near stone me, man. But if I'm sitting up there and you can't see it spiritually, and I'm just, should I say something? Nah, oh well. I'm battling the spirits. I'm down. I'm sad. I'm hiding my talents, man. You think the Lord cares if you're tired? You think the Most High God cares that you had a bad day, man? That's a serious question. Think the Lord cares if there was a death in the family? You think the Lord cares if it's raining outside, man? What does any of that have to do with anything? See, you carnally go to work when you're cold or when you have a cold. I don't even feel like being in here, man. You got a damn tissue in your nose. You're not talking to nobody, but you come in. Why? Because if you don't, you'll get fired. You don't got no sick leave, man. You don't got no paid time off. And if you don't come in, what's that going to happen to your house? You can't feed your children. You can't pay your bills. And your whole life is going to crumble before your eyes. That's carnally on earth. Just because you can't see everything you've worked for diminish and things are spiritually laid up in the heaven, don't have a mentality that you being slothful and not working, you're not taking away everything you've worked for, man. It says, and lo, there thou hast, right? That is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant. When you hide your talent and your ability to do good, the Lord calls that wicked, man. We call wicked just fighting one another and hating your brother. We call wicked smoking crack. Or we may call wicked beating your woman. But the Most High is righteous. He's more righteous than us, man. His mind is not according to our mind. What you deem wicked, right? The Most High deems you just outright blasphemous. What you may deem is not that serious, the Most High may deem as a weightier matter. So something that in a man's mind relaxes him in a state where things ain't that serious, the Lord looks at that as a wicked servant. Because what is this servant supposed to do? Work. Thou knowest that I reap where I sowed not, and gathered where thou's not strawed. And spiritually, the Lord is going to pull up on you, man. And when is he going to pull up on you? In the day of harvest. That's the book of Revelation, the 14th chapter, where he gathers up. Let me get that real fast. And he's going to pull up on you, man, in the day of judgment. And if you don't have all that he has given you, right, you're going to be destroyed. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 14, right, and verse, right, number 15. And another angel came out of the temple crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe, right? Harvest of wickedness, evil, lies, adultery, right? Murder, right? All type of drunkenness, hatred, crafty counsels, all of that's risen up. And the elect is grown into perfection. These things have come to their pinnacle and peak, and now it's time to gather, right? That's wisdom, Slothful, that song of Solomon, the 6th chapter. Lord said he is coming to his garden, right, to feed and to gather lilies. So you're going to be gathered. The Lord is going to pull up on you at a time which you know is not. It says, my beloved, Song of Solomon 6:2, my beloved is gone down into his garden to the bed of spices to feed in the garden, right, to give you what you need, breakdowns, parables, dreams, revelations, and gather lilies. He's trying to gather things up. That's why he's giving you the ability to work to bring forth an increase. Right? Let's get the book of John, right? Because brothers may say, well, this work is too hard. My feet hurt. I'm tired. I don't possess the same spirit my forefathers did. You know, a lot of brothers that's just straight up cowards. Right? This is not the breakdown and the time, right, to be politically correct, man. We're going to tell it how it is. A lot of brothers are cowards. They're cowards in matters of war. Let me get this quick precept real fast before I get that one. A lot of brothers are just weak and they're cowards. And they can't test and stand what needs to be done in resistance, right? This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, right? And verse 3. A time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up. The time to build up is now. So for all you brothers that have fell away, all you brothers that don't want to labor, all you brothers that make excuses, all you brothers that weep and cry in your woman's bosom on a Sabbath day, while the men of the Lord go out and do the work of the Lord, shame on you, man. Shame on you for being in the comfort of your house with heat on, with nice furnished food, with fruits, with drinks, while the men of the Lord are risking their life, man. See, a brother yesterday, he flashed a gun on us, man. He said, don't you know I got that strap on me? I'll kill you right now. Because he was trying to drive through the camp and the brother tried to stop him. And he went just like, man, I'll kill you right now. And that brother was driving back and forth on his dirt bike, I guess waiting for us to close up. And he just was from a distance watching us, driving back and forth. And nobody was out there. So you have spirits and demons that try to destroy the work and hinder the will of the Most High. So our brothers are actually out there doing what needs to be done in the last days, right? You have brothers, the contrary, relaxing, chilling, drinking. Don't be in that type of spirit, man. Don't be a keyboard warrior. You got a hell of a lot to say, but when it's time to say it publicly, have your face to be a state and an enemy, right, of the state. You don't want to do that. Let's go to John chapter 4 and verse 35. Say ye not that there are yet 4 months and then cometh harvest. Because a lot of brothers will say, man, the feast of dedications, oh, that's in 2 weeks. I can get it together. The Passover, that's in 2 more weeks. I'll get my money together. Yeah. I'll get my spirit together. The day of Simon, yeah, that's a month from now. That's 3 weeks from now. Yeah, I can get myself together. And the Lord says, say ye not that there are yet 4 months, then cometh harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest. Meaning the things that Ezekiel, Isaiah, Daniel, John, these men spoke about, don't say these things are far off. They're 10 years from now. They're 30 years from now. They're 50 years from now. They're 100 years from now. Don't have the mentality and spirit that these things are far off. To the word, you get relaxed. You get comfort. You start to get a pillow. You start to drift away into heavy sleep. And he that reapeth wages and gathereth fruit unto life eternal. that both he that soweth and he that reapeth may rejoice together. So who literally sold, right? See, Isaiah he sold, Daniel he sold, right? All the men of the Lord, the prophets, they sold, man. Elijah he sold. These men, David he sold. We're the reapers spiritually, because what they sold down is coming up for us to take, man, and for us to use those prophecies, those parables, and things that didn't come to pass in their time, for the prophets now to break them down. There's certain things Daniel didn't get the revelation of, certain things that John spoke about in ancient terms that he looked at as locusts, right? That he looked at his hair and all of these different things. We can now see it. So the things they sold, while we're reaping, it says herein is that saying true: one soweth and another reapeth. I sent you to reap that whereupon ye bestowed no labor. So what labor did a man have to do to come into this truth, man? What labor did a man have to do, really to give you this truth and this understanding? Last time I checked, brothers clicked one link and it was a teacher with all of this knowledge breaking everything down to you. You didn't have to open up this book when there was no teacher and literally dive into these parables being confused, getting a parable wrong 7 times before the 8th time you actually understood a little bit of it. You have teachers, you have prophets, you have all of these men that broke everything down to you. At this point, they're gonna chop the chicken all the way down to its baby food. All you got to do is eat it, man. Lord said you didn't do no work, but all at least you could do is reap the things that are laid down. It says others, men's labors, and ye are entered into their labors. You're entered into their labors, man. That's like your father taking the grass out of the ground, breaking down all of the field, sowing all of the seeds, and you're his son. All you have to do is gather up what he planted, man. That's the last days. That's all you have to do is gather up what the Lord had planted for you, man. Brothers can't even do that. Right, let's go to the book, right, of Luke, chapter 14. This is Luke, chapter 14. Right, I'm going to get this quick precept. In verse 16. Then said he unto him, a certain man made a great supper and bade many. Right, and the Lord bade you, man, meaning he called you, and sent his servants at supper time to say to them that were bidden, come, for all things are now ready. Meaning everything is done, right? All the prophecies are fulfilled. Everything is coming to pass. Now it's time to reap and eat of everything, right, that was bestowed. And they all with one consent began to make excuse, man. And that's Jake for you. That's how you know that this book is talking about us. It says they all with one consent begin to make excuse. The first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground. What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? Just because you have a new house or you bought a new car, or if you bought anything to benefit your carnal life, doesn't stop the will and the work of the Most High. And I must need go to see it. I pray thee have me excused. Why would you be excused for matters of war? Why would you want to leave other brothers, right, to have more weight pushed and placed on them that you can help bear? It says, and another said, I have bought 5 oxen, yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. And I pray have me excused. And that's off. It says, I bought 5 yoke of oxen, I go to prove them. Right? And that doesn't make any sense that you would buy something before you proved. It's like hopping in a car before you went on a test run or check the engine and the Carfax on it. It says, and a yoke of oxen spiritually is anything that helped gender you. You bought a business, right? You took out a loan, right? You get something that helped flourish your life. And another said, I have married a wife, right? And therefore I cannot come. Because a lot of brothers' women be their downfall. Their woman is upset on them, so they can't come to camp. Their woman put a spirit on them, so that stops the will and work of the Most High. See, when Job's woman was off, Job continued to do the work of the Most High. When Ezekiel's woman had passed away and fell asleep, Ezekiel continued to do the work of the Most High, man. Jeremiah didn't even have a wife. The Lord told him not to take a wife in this place in Jeremiah, the 9th chapter. What did he do? He continued to do the work of the Most High. Don't let women, the cares of this world and excuses stop the work of the Most High. This work cannot be stopped. There are mechanics, there are engineers, there are technicians that always keep the lights on in our house, man. If they all took the day off or stopped, how would this society flourish? There's somebody in mechanics having it to be a green light, a red light, right? A yellow light. These things are working like a clock. If this whole society were to withdraw the work, nothing would be done. Food trucks would stop coming in. Everything is wrought through labor. That's Ecclesiastes, man. That's what that book is about. All labor is really vanity and nothing. But the whole world is built on the back of labor. Everything is built on labor. Right? Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book of Sirach. Let's go to Sirach chapter 11. Right? And they even tell you in the world, like when your marriage may be getting, dim, or your marriage is like getting boring, or things like that, you got to find a spark. You got to find a reason, right? Some people, they find a reason to go to work. They got a best friend at work, and they always talk to that friend. And as soon as they come to work, work's not that strenuous, man, because your man's at work, man. Y'all always laughing. Y'all cutting up in the break room. He done made your day, or she done made your day, man, right? Or they may have donuts or something to make you feel, at least I got this. At least I got that. That carnal little bit of something that helps that situation become better, man. You got to find that out in this truth. You may feel like it's burdensome to read, it's burdensome to fast, it's burdensome to go to camp, but you got to find something in that spark that makes you want to continue to go, makes you want to strengthen yourself up, pick yourself up, and continue to go, man. I mean, looking at a congregational camp, say your feet hurt, you're tired, you worked a 10-hour shift, the sun has just went down, and you really want to go home and get some sleep. But you think about how the brothers give you exhortation. You think about how the smiles of the elect smile when they hear the words of God, man. How they cast away idols. How all the cheering and the clapping and the rejoicing on earth and in the third heaven happens, man. You see what 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst thereof. You see the light of the men of the Lord down the street. What the Lord say? What the Lord say? What the Lord say? Right? You hear from down the street, and that start amping up your spirit, man. Your heart beating out of your chest. You got to really look in what draws you. Because if nothing is drawing you and you don't have a compassion and zeal for this truth, you're going to eventually get tired, bored. You're going to start looking at other lovers, man. That's spiritual. Other things that arouse you. Other things that are catching your eye. Other things that make you feel alive. Right? It says this: be steadfast in thy covenant and conversant therein, and wax old in thy work. So what did the Lord say? To wax old in your work, right? Meaning don't be that brother that throws in the towel, man. That's weak. Be strong, man. Wax old in this. Be what? Have discipline. Now, this is the definition of discipline. Discipline. Control, regulation, direction, order, authority, rule, strictness. A lot of brothers don't like strictness, man. Wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning every single day. But Jake, they wake up 8:05, 8:10, 8:30, always dragging behind. It says a firm hand, routine. A lot of brothers are scared of routine. Regimen, training, teaching, instruction, drill, drilling, exercise, right? That's the characteristics of discipline. And the care of discipline is love, right? That's Wisdom of Solomon, the 6th chapter. Right? Consistency, right? Steadiness, stability. When you're consistent, you're stable. Every woman wants a stable man. Every brother that tries to join a congregation, he wants that brother to be stable. That brother shows up when he wants to, leaves when he wants to. That brother's not stable. Something's off around him, man. Something about that brother's spirit, it's off. It's not stable. You want, like, when somebody hires you for a job, they want you to be stable. Want you to come to work on time, leave late, do all of your responsibilities. That has your boss and your so-called higher management to be like, well, he's reliable. You want to be stable in his truth, man. You want the Lord to look from on high, like he did Isaiah. Well, let me get this quick precept. And Isaiah says, send me. Right? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 6. Right? And I'm going to start. I mean, this whole thing is fire. Right? And I'm going to start at 8. It says, also, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? You know, who's going to go out to do this work, man? Who am I going to send? And who will go for us? Thence I said, here am I, send me. What if you said that to the Lord, man? Here am I, send me. Would the holy angels laugh? Would this be a joke? Because the Most High does laugh, man. Psalms 2 and 4, right? Proverbs, the first chapter, he would laugh at their calamities, right? We're made in the Most High's image. I mean, what would happen if you say, send me? Right? Even carnally on earth, right? What happened in 2 Corinthians? I want to get this real quick about a man that wanted to be sent out. Let me get this quick precept, right? This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 8, and I'm going to start at verse 16. But thanks be to God, which put the same earnest care into the heart of Titus for you. For indeed he accepted the exhortation, but being more forward of his own accord, he went unto you. It says of his own accord. If you're that brother, somebody has to push all the time. Hey, Ak, you coming to camp? What's going on with you? You all right? You all right? All you hear is moaning and sighs in his background, man. Moans and sighs. That's all you ever hear, man. Brother always got a story. Yeah, my rib, Ak. Yeah, my job. Yeah, my tires. The sister always talking about my husband, my children. It says he went on his own accord. You want to have a mentality to where send me, I'll do it. Go on your own accord, man. Not the Lord got to put a knife to your neck. They should be weeping and gashing the teeth. Now you sitting up there like this. Okay, Lord. You sitting up, you got a spiritual knife to your throat. Every single time you hear ICB and missiles, death and destruction, weeping and gashing the teeth, the Lord got you like this, and that's when you want to shake off your garment and put it on, man. That's off. You should want to go on your own accord. It says, and we have sent him with the brother whose praise is in the gospel throughout all the churches. It says his praise is in all the gospels through all the churches, man. Meaning this brother had a good name. So when we thought about sending a brother for a task, your name comes up. We think about cleaning the school, your name comes up. We think about a good reader, your name comes up. And the Lord thinks about opening up fertile ground and to teach, right, and be a leader over those men, your name comes up, man. A sister that could take care of the children, your name comes up. A sister that's not slack, murmuring and starting discourse and hatred amongst the sisterhood, right? And that literally encourages with exhortation of love, your name comes up. You want to have this type of spirit, man. It says, and not only, right? And not that only, but who was also chosen of the churches. So all the churches came together and chose him. And the Most High chose Isaiah. He chose Ezekiel. But he didn't just choose those men only, man. He chose you. He chose you for a reason. Not to be slothful, forgetful, and have your mannerisms to be, of this world, man. Right? He chose you to be what, man? A light shining in a dark place, right? To be that quiver hidden in the shadow of his hand, like it says in Isaiah 49. To travel with us, right? This grace was his administered by us to the glory of the same Lord and declaration of your ready mind, right? So, I mean, consistency, stability, right? Regularly, right? Uniformity, dependency, unity, consistency, right? So you want to take on these attributes, right? Let me get this quick precept. Right, let's get the mighty book right? Of Second Chronicles. Let's get the mighty book of Second Chronicles, chapter 29. It's Second Chronicles, chapter 29, and I want to start at verse number 15. And they gathered their brethren and sanctified themselves, right? And came according to the commandment of the king, right, by the words of the Lord to cleanse the house of the Lord. So Hezekiah, when he came as king, what did he do? He had the cleansing going on. He took out oldness, wickedness, leaven. He evaluated the temple and he cleansed it. Then they went to Hezekiah the king and said, we have cleansed all the house of the Lord and the altar of burnt offering with all the vessels thereof, and the shewbread with all the vessels thereof. And that's spiritual. When you cleanse something, that means it was dirty, right? And spiritually looking, if you give an offering up, you want it to be pure. You don't want it to have blood and all type of things defiling the sacrifice you want to give to Heavenly Father. Moreover, all the vessels which King Hazar and his reign did cast away in his transgression. That's off. Have we prepared and sanctified, and behold, they are before the altar of the Lord, right? So you want to have that mentality to build like Hezekiah did, man. Hezekiah was on fire. Well, let me get this quick precept. Let's go to Second Chronicles chapter 32. Second Chronicles chapter 32, right? And I'm going to start at verse 27. And Hezekiah had exceedingly much riches. So the Most High, he did what? He advanced Hezekiah. But did he advance him just because he was a Judite, man? Did he advance him just because he had, a nice girdle on? What did he advance him for? To prove him. And the Lord will give you much things to prove the spirit that you're going to do with it in, man. Here you are, you got a better job, a better house, whatever the case may be. Is that going to take you away from the Lord? You may increase with a wife. Is that going to take you away from the Lord? Are you going to increase? You understand with earthly things, more children and more children. The Lord gave you 4 children now. Is that going to take you away from the Lord? See, the Lord gave Hezekiah exceedingly much riches and honor, and he himself treasures of silver and for gold and for precious stones and for spices and for shields and all manner of precious jewels. So he had everything the heart could wish, man. Riches, shields, spices, stones, gold, storehouses also for the increase of corn. So he built up storehouses and wine and oil and stalls and all manner of beasts and coats for flocks. So he had the bullocks, the sheep, the goats. He had everything. Moreover, he provided him cities and possessions of flocks and herds in abundance. Imagine if you had all of this, man. Whatever city you live in, Baltimore, Philly, Pennsylvania, Delaware, right, DC, right, Florida. What if the Lord gave you all of that? All of that was yours, man. You know what man would be doing? Traveling, looking, lusting. I haven't been here. I didn't go there. Look at these palm trees. Look at these lakes. Look at these oceans. Your eyes would lust, and you will fall away into this world, man. That's why it's comely and likened for us to be poor. Because the more we have, the more it's going to pull us away in the world. But yet Hezekiah had all of this, for God hath given him substance very much. Check this out. The same Hezekiah had stopped the upper water course of Galan and brought it straight down into the west side of the city of David. And Hezekiah prospered in all his works. Howbeit, in the business of the ambassadors of the princes of Babylon, who sent unto him to inquire of the wonder that was done in the land, God left him to try him. What did God do? He said, look, man, this man is on fire. He's diligent. He got stones, gold, silver, cattle abundantly, sheeps, goats, bullocks. He's even built a haven for a river. This man has did everything. You know what? I'm going to send ambassadors to try him, man, that he might know all that was in his heart. See, you could see what was in Hezekiah's heart, judging as a man. I know he has a mind to build. I know he cleansed out the wickedness that has left. I know he had a priest of blameless spirits to help do the work of the Lord. I know he prayed, right, for Manasseh and Ephraim and the men when they kept the Passover. I know he had a heart to cleanse and to do the work and the will of the Most High. I know he was rich and I don't overthrow his spirit, but I'm just a mortal man. I could look at him as being perfect, but the Most High eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. He looked deeper than that. He moved all of that and sought to try him to see what was in his heart. And that's spiritual, man. Because what happened when you read Isaiah chapter 39, he got robbed, man. He opened up his heart and his treasures, right? And those heathens from Babylon, they robbed him blind, man. And that's spiritual. So you could build up all of this work. You could have all of these riches, but there's still work to be done, man. Don't think that it's finished. Your wife's in order. Your children are in order. They're reading, they're on fire, right? You got a nice job. You're providing, you're saving money. Your congregation is flourishing. Brothers are looking up to you, but there's still something to work on, man. That is what the Lord is saying through this to try Hezekiah. Let me get this quick precept in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10. This is Ecclesiastes, right? Chapter 10. Get this quick precept. And I'm going to start at verse number 8, right? It says, he that diggeth a pit, right? Salaki, bear with me. I want 18. By much slothfulness, the building decayeth. So the Lord said, by much slothfulness, the building is you. Much slothfulness, the building is going to start to crumble down slowly. It's going to start to decay slowly by slowly, slowly by slowly. Your building don't just fall in the mist out of nowhere, you know? And you don't even feel your knees getting bad, really. You just wake up one day and just have a problem out of nowhere. What the hell? My knee? God damn. Somebody 40 years old. It wasn't like as soon as you turn 29, you need a walker. As soon as you turn 40, you need a walker. No, it's strain on your knee. It's strain on your ankle over time to where you start walking different, start moving different. It's the same with the spirit, man. You don't read today. You don't pray like you used to. And all these things slowly start to build who you are a year from now. And that's just what it is now. That's your routine. Now you just don't read. You just watch videos. All you do now is watch videos, man. You used to read. A lot of brothers don't even watch videos, man, no more. Or read. They just watch gossip videos on Israel. A lot of people just are slowly falling. Lord said, by slothfulness, the building decayeth. And through idleness of the hands, the house droppeth through. The house is going to eventually drop, man, because you're being slothful. You're not being diligent, right? The Lord speaks about that in Proverbs. It's Proverbs chapter 26. Let me get this quick precept. In verse 13, right? It reads, it says, the slothful man saith, there is a lion in the way. A lion is in the streets, right? And that's a bold-faced lie. See, the slothful man is going to exaggerate anything and everything. Any and everything he's going to exaggerate, man. Right? I can't do it. My arm, my back, my leg, my woman, my car, my job. A lion is on always be in those streets, man, preventing you from traveling on the path that you ought to go. And it's like as the door turneth upon his hinges, so doeth the slothful upon his bed. Now, too much sleep is wicked. If you're getting too much sleep physically, but much more, in a state of relaxation and peace, that's not a good thing, man. You're supposed to be in a house of mourning. You're supposed to be afflicted in this life. If this is your rest, like it says in Micah 2 and 10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, that's spiritual. It's not talking about a physical king-size bed, a California king. Got 15 pillows on it, and you just relaxing, looking up, man, right, as the music plays. It's much more spiritual. If you aren't ticked off, antsy, uncomfortable, angry, upset, uneased, if you feel relaxed, comfort, relaxation, if your mind is really laid into the inhabitants and the way things are, then you're just a slave. You're a slothful, ungrateful slave, man, that deserves to be in Master's plantation, right? Getting bread and crumbs. But see, those that rise up that want more, man, those that seek truth, those that truly want what our fathers had are going to be doing the work that our fathers did. Said the slothful hideth his hand in his bosom. What in your hand? It represents your works. And you hide it in your bosom. See, but you're not supposed to see anything in your bosom. Meaning you hide your works like you hide your napkin, right? Like it says in Matthew. It grieveth him to bring it again to his mouth. It grieveth you to do the work, man. See, that's not a good spirit to be in if it grieveth thee to do the work. That's the same spirit of the ancient priests during the time of Malachi. This is Malachi chapter 1, right? In verse, get this quick precept. This whole thing is fire. I'm gonna start at 12. But ye have profaned it, and that ye say the table of the Lord is polluted. What is that saying? The same thing as a lion is in the street. You're making an excuse. The table of the Lord, it's polluted. I can't do this. It's not right. It's not. You're making excuses, man. The table of the Lord isn't polluted. You're the one that polluted the table. If it's polluted, cleanse it. If it's polluted, make more shewbread, man. And the fruit thereof is even, it's like it, even his meat is contemptible. Ye said also, behold, what a wearisome it is. And if you have this mentality that the work of the Lord is wearisome, it's tiring, that's not a good spirit to be in. You got to examine yourself, man. And brothers may, feel weary. It's okay to feel weary because your bodies aren't immortal. Your bodies aren't having a type of spirit to where it never faints, it never gets tired. But if your spirit starts to feel that way, man, it's worrisome, and your flesh is healthy because your spirit really wants to do other things, that's something you got to check out. And ye have snuffed at it. That's snuffing at it. Saith the Lord of hosts, and ye brought that which was torn, and the lame, and the sick. Thus ye brought an offering. Should I accept this of your hand, saith the Lord? Lord is saying it's better for you not to even give me anything than for you to pollute, right, my altar, overthrow my altar, snuffing at the altar, giving the blind, right, the halt in the lame. It's the book of Malachi chapter 2, right, in verse, right, number 14. Yet ye say, wherefore? Because the Lord hath been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously. See, the wife of our youth, man. See, wisdom is our mother. Wisdom is our sister. Right? Wisdom is our wife. Right? Wisdom is everything to us, man. And you have done treacherously with the wife of your youth, man. You're not ravished with wisdom. Yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. And did not he make one? Yet had he the residue of the spirit, and wherefore one, that he might seek a godly seed. Therefore, take heed to your spirit. What do we ought to do when the Lord check us, man, and tell us what we ought to be doing? The Lord said to take heed to your spirit, and let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth. For the Lord God of Israel saith that he hateth putting away, for the one covereth violence with his garment. What does it mean when you cover violence with your garment, man? You wearing a rough garment to deceive. All right. See if I can get a picture. All right. This is exactly what you're doing right here, man. You're hiding yourself, right? Spiritually. Let me read that again. He that, it's like it, he hateth putting away, for one covereth violence with his garment. So instead of cleansing it and removing it, it's more easier to hide it. See, to cleanse it, it requires washing, soap, sweat, a back and forth, type of gesture. You're sitting up there, you're uncomfortable. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable. Instead of this spot, let me just put on a long sleeve shirt, man. Everyone wants the easy way out, man. There's no easy ways out in this truth. There's no secret path that's easier than the path everybody else is on. You can't hide it, man. It says, saith the Lord of hosts, therefore take heed to your spirit that ye deal not treacherously, man. So the Lord said, take heed to your spirit that you don't deal wickedly and treacherously. What would happen to somebody that was off, and a drunkard and slothful in the ancient world, man? They would kill him. Let me get Deuteronomy chapter 21. They would literally kill you, man. Right? Let me get this quick precept. It's Deuteronomy 21:10. When thou goest forth, right, Salakia. That's what I want. Bear with me. I'm going to start at verse 18. It says, if a man have a stubborn and rebellious son. Now, this is in the law, in the ancient world. What does it mean, stubborn? He don't want to do no work. He want to do what he want to do, man. He don't care about you. Go take care of those goats. Go take care of those sheep. Go feed the sheep. Go do this. Go do that. And he's like an ass. You got to pull. Obstinate. Stubborn as a mule. Mulish. Headstrong. Willful. Self-willed. Contrary. Right? Meaning he don't want to listen to his father. Meaning the father's giving directions, but he doesn't want to adhere to it. And rebellious, meaning he does the opposite. The Lord told you to work and you get rest. The Lord told you to wake up in the morning, but you're waking up late. This is spiritual. These laws are spiritual. Who's really the son? We are on a spiritual level. Who's the father? The Most High, which will not obey the voice of his father. And if you're not obeying the voice of your father, right, because your father told you to work, right? Your father hates slothfulness. You have to move in the spirit and image of your father. Or the voice of his mother, talking about wisdom, and that when they have chastened him, right? And the Lord chastens you, man. Give you that dream. Let a brother come to me and say, I had a dream about you, man. And the Lord had you in these homeless clothes, and you was asking for some milk. I don't really know what that means. What do you think that means? You gotta cut me straight to the heart. Hey, the Lord will chasten you with dreams. Lord will chasten you physically with infirmities, right? Financially. See, the Lord can only chasten you so much before you just not listening. He said, chasten him will not hearken unto him. He's still not listening. Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him and bring him out unto the elders of the city, right? And that's spiritual. That's before all Israel. A lot of people die before all Israel. The Lord raises up Pharaoh, dies before all mankind. The Lord raises up the so-called white man, dies before all mankind, man. Lord raises up that prophet, that man, that leader, and the Lord has him to be embarrassed, right? And sifted before all mankind, right? And the Lord is showing you, look, before all of the elders of the city and unto the gate of this place, and they shall say unto the elders of the city, our son is a stubborn and rebellious. And, right, it says he will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard, right? What does a glutton mean? For brothers that don't know, right? Let's show you. It's not something you want to be. Let me see. Excessive consumption that deprives of another of a life-giving necessity. Meaning you want more and more and more. It's really talking about food. And that's spiritual, man. Because the Lord has furnished the table before you of wisdom, right? Everything is ready. The marriage, right? The Lord said, "Thy fat of calf are slain," in the book of Matthew 22, paraphrasing greatly. Or you have wisdom's table in Proverbs 9th chapter. You have food to be given to you. The Lord said, "My meat is to finish the will of my Father, man, that have sent me," paraphrasing greatly. So you have food, you have your own meat, but you lust and you glutton after other strange meats, man. Other strange philosophies, other strange doctrines, and they drunk it. I mean, in this world, you're in this world. If you're drunken, that means you're in the world. And you're eating of the things of the world. Right? It says, and all the men of the city shall stone him with stones that he die. So it's really the judgment in the ancient world. If you were stubborn, you didn't listen, you didn't want to work, and all you wanted to do is be self-willed and do what you want to do, and eat and drink and relax all day, it would literally kill you, man. Let you come home from a long day of work and your son just eating chips all day long, man. Ate all of the chicken, all of the beef, man, all of the corn. He drunk all of the juice. He don't want to work. You tell him to go mow the grass, he don't mow the grass, man. He don't clean his room. He don't even flush the toilet. He don't wash his hands. He don't shower consistently. What could you do with a spirit like that, man? That's an evil spirit. It's not something to be looked at lightly, man. You know, it's time to read. He's contrary to reading. He come in the house when he want to come in the house. He stay out for hours and you don't know where he is. What if your daughter does the same, right? She don't care to do anything you ask her to do. All she wants to do is spend money, drink, and eat, and be rebellious, man. Lord says only one thing to do with a spirit like that. It's to kill him. All right, let's go to the book of, and that judgment still applies to this very day. Now, that doesn't mean you go out and stone somebody on a physical level, but these laws are spiritual. Let's go to Revelation chapter 3 and verse 15. It says, I know thy works. Right, meaning everything brothers do, the Lord knows all the works of man. It says that thou art neither cold nor hot. Would that thou were cold or hot. I mean, I wish you was just either cold or I wish that you was either hot. If you're hot, you're on fire. You're fervent. The flames are combustion. If you're cold, you're ice cold, man. That lukewarm type of spirit, people get sick from eating lukewarm foods and products, man. Right? They even tell you once you open this or whatever the case may be, put it in the refrigerator. There's certain products. Because if you don't, it could corrupt your whole body and overthrow you. Now you're sick. Right? I mean, you either want hot water to cook with or you want cold water to drink. You know, you don't really want that room temperature water, man. You're not an Edomite, right? This is not somebody that just drinks, lukewarm water and eat lukewarm food, man. Right? It says, so then, because thou art lukewarm, let's look up the definition of lukewarm. Because you're literally lukewarm, man. It's not a good spirit to be in. Again, brothers are going to have their days where they're not feeling, their best. That's what comes with this flesh. But lukewarm is a condition. That's a lifestyle. It's not a moment in a time. That's not that day. You have, again, a lifestyle, and then you have at that moment. Because if you take that water and throw it in the freezer, and you come back in an hour and that thing cold, all praise to the Most High. But yet it was warm or lukewarm early that day. But you took the initiative to put it in the freezer. Spiritually, you took the initiative to go on that fast. You took the initiative to call that brother, to announce what was really going on, man. Right? Or you could continue in that condition, man, and stay in that mindset at room temperature. Right? So you don't want to be room temperature. You don't want to move in that spirit. You want to be fervent. Neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. That's one of the scariest things that the Lord could do, because out of his mouth, you understand, comes evil and good. So if he spews you out of his mouth, right, he spews you out of all of the mercy, the blessings that he will speak, right, all of the things that could come to pass, he will spew you right out of everlasting life, man. That's not the type of spirit you want the Lord to move in with you, right? I mean, really considering those things. Right? How does the Lord view a slothful man? The Lord said, look, I wish that you were cold and hot, and because you're neither one, I'm going to spew you out of my mouth. The Lord looks at a slothful man as what? Feces in Sirach. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 22 and 1. A slothful man is compared to a filthy stone. What is the filthy stone? It's a man of the nation that's not of the temple of Yahweh. On the last days, we're the temple of Yahweh. And if you're filthy, right, that's the same thing in the ancient world, right? When the Maccabees, they took out the defiled stones, right? They took them to an unclean place. The same with the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, right? You are supposed to build with hold stones. There are certain stones you have to build with that are likened to build the temple. You cannot just come as any old stone, This is not to come as you are. This is not a Christianity. Come as you are. And everybody starts walking down the aisle and remain in that condition. But this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, and verse 2. And it shall be on that day when thou shalt pass over Jordan unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, that thou shalt set up thee, right, great stones and plasters, right, them with plaster. It says great stones, man. Not small ones, not defiled ones, not crusty ones, but great stones. What are these stones supposed to have? And thou shalt write upon them all the words of this law. That's the same thing in the spirit of having your father's name written in your forehead. Where are those stones? What are those great stones that help build up the temple? Help build up, you understand, an altar. These are the things we ought to be doing. So when the Lord says, right, that a slothful man is compared to a filthy stone, you're supposed to take that stone without, and everyone will hiss him out of his disgrace, meaning shake his head. Shame on you, man. A slothful man is compared to the filth of a dunghill. What is a dunghill, man? All right, let's find out. Look at this. The next time you don't want to read, right? The next time you just don't want to pray, right? And they make it a dunghill because they scoop up the shit and they put it in this dunghill, right? And it's easier to scoop, and it's mixed in with, that hay and, all of that different things. So it kind of calms down that smell, easier to scoop, you know, and easier to roll, and compact because, feces is mushy. As a farmer, having a farm like mentality, it's mushy, not to be too graphic, right? It comes in all shapes, and that may be harder to clean, and it may get under soil, right? So you make a dunghill. Next time you don't want to care, right, to do the work of the Most High, this is what the Lord looks at it as, man. Look at this. If this is what you want to be on a spiritual level, then that's what you want to be. The Lord said, let me get this quick precept, right? It says, the slothful man is compared to a filth of a dunghill. Every man that takes it up will shake his head. Everybody that's scooping it, taking it up, it's going to shake his head, man. It's not the spirit you want to be in. It's a dunghill. Right, let's go to the mighty book of Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 15. It's Proverbs chapter 15, and I'm going to start at verse 19. It says, the way of the slothful man is as a hedge of thorns. Why is it as a hedge of thorns? The more diligent you are, the more you work, the more paths open up, the more clear of a visual you can see. A hardworking man, what does he do? He makes connections. He networks. I was at work, right? I think it was like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, whatever the case may be. And I seen a brother, and I kind of told him, hey, you should do this, you should do that, XYZ. He said, well, thanks, man. I didn't know that, XYZ, right? Not to get into the conversation, but for him to excel himself. So it's not really what you know, it's who you know. You can know all of this wisdom. You can know all of this, you can go to college, you can have a doctor's degree. But if you don't have, that help in the door, if you don't have those connections, you don't have that cover letter and that person to really look at it, and somebody type of connections at that job, somebody may deny you, man. So it's not about really what you know a lot of the times. See, it's about applying. See, it says the weight of the slothful man is as a hedge of thorns. So every direction he takes through his slothfulness, right, and not taking initiative to go out and get what he wants, he hedges himself up. He doesn't know where to go. His opportunities are few. Doors aren't open for him because he can't get up off the couch. That's why it was that old commercial. I think it was an Everest commercial. Get up, get off the couch. What are you doing with yourself? What are you doing? You still on the couch? Get off the couch. You still drinking that tea? You still sipping that wine? Get off the couch. Oh, you still on the couch? You could do something with your life. Call Everest. Let me see if I could. Brothers know that commercial. This guy, man. Now, have you ever seen this guy? He made you feel bad about being slothful, man. Get up off the couch. What are you doing with yourself? You still on the couch? You gonna grow old on the couch? You still gonna live at your parents' house? You still at your grandmother's house? You still in the basement? Get out the basement. Put down that bottle. Put down that weed. Call Everest today. And he used to literally say, man, get off the couch. That was his whole motto, man. Go to school and get off the couch. Stop being slothful and lazy. What are you doing with yourself? And this commercial used to come on 55 times a day, man. Right? Now, if you just graduated from high school, man, he made you feel like a straight up sloth. What are you doing with yourself? Right? Now, the attributes of a sloth, right? That's a reason why the Lord likens a man to a sloth, right? Now, a sloth, he's slow to move. It really seems like he don't care about nothing, man. His life is threatened. He's still moving the same way. It's raining outside. He don't care. He's hungry. He hasn't eaten in 3 days. And he's moving at the same speed to get to that food, man. Check this out. The three right-fingered sloth, the facts you didn't know about this impressive mammal, right? Now, how does the sloth get his name? Let's find out. You've probably read, right, in the animal passport that the three-fingered sloth needs 16 hours of sleep a day. Yet they are most active during the day. That's a long time, right, to sleep a day. 16 hours. 16 hours. 16 hours of sleep is madness. So if you probably read right in the animal passport, the three-fingered sloth needs 16 hours of sleep a day, yet are most active during the day. How about that? The sloth eats and leaves from many different trees that are difficult to digest, right? And yes, you have a rest a lot and sit still for hours to digest the substance. So he sleeps for 16 hours and then he eats things that are hard to digest. That's spiritual. Here you are eating all these greasy foods. You're belping, you're burping, you're relaxed, and you really don't care. You pop that button and you sit back and you be a sloth, man. It says, let me read down a little bit more. Look at this. The sloth has the slowest metabolism of all mammals. The sloth defecates about once a week. So, I mean, all that, this is a nasty animal, man. An unclean three-fingered creep, a hairy, slow-moving spirit. All it does is sleep. All it does is sleep and eat and slow to digest his food. And it defecates once a week. That's off. This thing isn't healthy. And it prefers to do so on the ground. They look for their favorite tree and they climb down from the tree. Why they defecate near their favorite tree is a mysterious to scientists, right? It could be that the sloth uses the poop to provide their favorite tree with a new version of leaves faster, or they use the poop to mark their favorite tree for other sloths. Way to go. This is my favorite spot. Look at this, man. It says, when it is mating season, the sloths, they make a very diligent sound. a bit similar to a human owl screech. The males try to impress the females with cool sounds. And you know what else is handy? The biologists in our research by reserve immediately hear how many sloths there are in an area and enjoy the funny sound of the sloth. Right? Now, I mean, this isn't an animal, again, that you want to be like. You don't want to be like the sloth, right? For obvious reasons. They're not healthy. They move slow. All they do is sleep. All they do is relax and make noise. Let's go to the book of Proverbs. Get a couple more. Proverbs chapter 23. Proverbs chapter 23 and verse number 22, 21. For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty. That's spiritual poverty. Yeah, it's physical too, but it's more spiritual than anything. The more you are occupied in the world and not focused and diligent, and you're drunk and you're eating and relaxing, you're going to come to spiritual poverty, meaning all your works and your treasures are going to diminish over time. And drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. What does it mean, drowsiness, man? When you're drowsy, you're really, for lack of better terms, thirsty. Let me see. Hold on. Drowsiness definition: sleepy, tired, fatigue, exhaustion, laziness, dopiness, right? So, I mean, you don't want to have that drowsy spirit, man. Attributes of being drowsy, falling asleep at work. Look, symptoms of drowsiness: tired, sore eyes. That's spiritual. You don't have eyes to see. General weakness, right? You're not strong in the spirit. Heavy legs. You're slow to move, right? See, a lot of the people that the Lord healed, they were halt, meaning they couldn't move. It was slow to movement. Feeling cold, right? You're not fervent. The Lord said, I would that thou were hot or cold. Lack of interest. This truth isn't what it used to be to you. Sensitivity to noise. Everything irritates you when you're tired. Let you be tired and you want to go to sleep and you hear that little bit of radio in the background, man. Man, cut that off, man. Kids crying, birds chirping. Anything's going to annoy you because your mind is trying to shut down, man. It's trying to have you to go to sleep, right? So let me go back to that precept. It says, for the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty. You know, all his works are going to diminish and come down to nothing. And drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. What do you clothe with right now? The Spirit of the Lord. Let's get that real fast. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. This is Isaiah chapter 30 and verse number 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. So the covering is supposed to be with what? The Lord's spirit, the Lord's garment, the priestly robe and attire. But you have taken that off. You don't bask in that. You put a covering of a rough garment. We just read that in Malachi. We're reading again in Isaiah. And then we're reading it in Proverbs. A man that takes off what he's supposed to have on and clothes himself with rags. Who did the same thing? Adam. Right? Let me get that real fast in Genesis. Right? They were naked and not ashamed. It's not literal. Right? But yet he clothed himself. Let me get this quick precept. I mean, this whole thing is fire. Right? This is the mighty book of Genesis. Right? Chapter 3. And I'm going to start. See what I want. I don't want to read too much. In verse number 7. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked, meaning they knew that they were in sin. Their eyes were open, meaning enlightened. and they knew that they were in sin, meaning naked. Because why? If you're naked, it brings about an ashamed type of spirit. Like, damn, I didn't know that. That's why it says this. It says, and they sewed fig leaves, right, together and made themselves aprons, right? And where did they get the leaves from? The other nations. Man is likened unto trees, right? In this parable. So we took from this nation, took from that nation, took from this nation to cover up his shame. Now, if I went off and I know that I went off and I'm naked, right, immediately I'm taking on anything to cover me, man. That's why people grab Christianity. They know that they're in sin. They feel morally bad for the things they've done in their life, but they don't know how to clothe themselves. They don't know how to cover themselves up. They know it's wrong to kill. Every man knows it's wrong. You don't have to read the scriptures to know it's wrong to kill, man. Even a killer knows deep down within them it's off. Even if they screws is not tight and it's loose, everyone has a conscience. That's Romans, the second chapter. It says, and they sewed fig leaves together, right, and made themselves aprons, right? So check that out. They took on other things to clothe their nakedness. And when you're drowsy, you clothe yourself with rags. You're not in the right state of mind. So if you're drunk and you're falling asleep and you're slothful, you want to cover yourself with more shame, more wickedness, more excuses. And you're going to eventually take away the spirit that the Most High has put upon you from before, right? Now, a brother may say, well, how do you be on fire? You know, it's not anything that just happens overnight. It's not a switch you cut on. It's not a precept you read. You have to first understand that the Most High is always watering the earth. Let me get that in Psalms chapter 65. The Lord's always watering the earth. This is Psalms chapter 65, and I'm going to start at verse 9. Thou visiteth the earth and waterest it. So every point of time, the Lord's always watering the earth. You don't have to say, well, I'm not around brothers. I'm not around sisters. I don't know what to do. Those are excuses, right? You have to really understand that every time of the day, every moment of the day, the Lord's always giving. He's always tending to the garden. He's the master husbandman. There's never a time where the garden suffereth drought. The Lord said that in the book of Isaiah. Let me get that real quick. I'm going to come back to this precept. Lord said it in Isaiah, was that 27 and verse 3. I, the Lord, do keep it, talking about his vineyard. I will water it every moment. So according to the Lord, you got to really realize I'm slothful because of me. It's not that the Most High disappeared. He went on a long journey. It's not that, the Most High is nowhere to be found. You blaming everybody but examining yourself. It's you. The Lord just told you he waters it every moment. So if you're not getting watered, what does that mean? That means it's something in you that's withholding those drops from hitting you, man. Sin, leaven, grudge, right? Or just you not recognizing and realizing it's you. You have to pick up your Bible. You don't pick it up and read 12 chapters immediately. You don't pick it up and read 25 chapters. It may start with one chapter, and there's no shame in that, man. There's no shame in the precept of the day. The precept of the day. What precept say you can't read a precept? What precept say you can't read one chapter? Whatever it is to start to get back on the position you were, take that, man. They even tell you what they call them, not relapses, and brothers know what I'm talking about. You go to like an intervention for drinking. They'll wean you off of heroin. They'll wean you off of certain drugs. They have that nicotine patch, man. And people put that patch on and they still smoke because they're trying to wean off of that drug. Even when people are smoking weed, they wean off of it slowly, man. They may used to smoke 12 times a day. Now they only hitting 2 J's, one in the morning, one at night, so they could eventually stop. That's in wickedness. How much more in righteousness, man? Pick this up. Start with a small challenge for yourself. So according to the Bible, the Lord says he's watering every day. So if he's watering every day, it says thou visiteth the earth and waterest it. Thou greatly enrich it with the river of God. What is the river of God? The river of pure living waters flowing from the temple. and the Lord's throne. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 22, and verse 1 all the way down. Right? Which is full of water. So it's full of water, full of knowledge. Thou preparest them, right? Corn, when thou hast so provided for it. What does corn represent in the law? A blessing, an increase. So when the Lord pours that water out, what's going to happen? It's going to increase, right? The priest would take, right, all of the fruits, they put it in the storehouse, all of the crops. Thou waterest the river, the riches thereof abundantly. Thou setteth the furrows thereof. Thou makest it soft with showers. What does that mean? Thou makest it soft with showers. See, when a ground is dry, it can't grow. It's not fertile. It's not soft. It's brittle. It's hard. Nothing is going to grow in this, man. So when the Lord say he maketh it soft, it's talking about the fertile. It's talking about the ground through the water, right through the showers. He's breaking up that drought and that spirit used to be in so that you could flow abundantly. Thou blesseth the springs thereof. Thou crownest the year with thy goodness, and thy paths drop with fatness. So that's how you know if you on a path to the Lord. If your marriage is not going the right way you want, you're feeling some type of way about your congregation, your life ain't how you want to go, you got to question if you really on the path to the Lord. Because all of the paths to the Lord, they drop with fatness. They drop with water. Not to say that you aren't going to have tribulation on the path, but tribulation has nothing to do with slothfulness. That's not a part of tribulation. Tribulation are unforeseen evils that befall man to try man's integrity. You understand? Not a demon that's withdrawing you from keeping the words of the Most High. That's just a demon in a spirit. It says they drop upon the pastures of the wilderness. What are the pastures? The flocks. All right. It says, and the little hills rejoice on every side. The little hills is talking about us. We're the little ones, right? We're the elect. Right? When I say the elect, I mean completely of all Israel. All Israel are the little ones. Just like you had Joshua and Caleb, and then you had that younger generation came out. The Lord's going to water the little ones, the younger ones, those that are newborn, that yearn for that milk, that's spiritual. It says the pastures are clothed with flocks. Who are the flocks? The nation, the men, women, and children that are following the path of the shepherd. It says the valleys also are covered over with corn. They shout for joy. They also sing. So what is this a parable talking about? It's talking about how the Lord always waters the earth and that he that it hits and lay holes on is going to grow and increase into a blessing, which is the corn. And you got to really examine if you're moving in that spirit, right, or not. And don't be afraid again to tell yourself about yourself, man. Let me get the classic. Let me get two more close out. Right? Let's get the classic. 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse number 5. It says, examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. So that's a heavy topic, man, to prove yourself. What do you like, what you don't like? You know, you act all fancy when you go out to dinner. I don't like that. What else do you have? Can I try this? I never had that before. Right here you are carnally looking and you know what you don't like, what you do like, you know what you have taste for. I like butter, a little bit more butter. Can you season this a little bit more? Throw this in the broil a little bit longer. I like mine's crispy. You don't prove your tongue and your taste buds to a T. You know exactly when it's too much sugar. You can eyeball the sugar in the Kool-Aid. You can eyeball the sugar in the tea. Here you are from a distance watching your daughter. All right, that's enough. You don't prove how much iced tea you want, how much iced tea you like to a certain degree and temp. But when it comes to you and spiritual matters, you don't have no accountability, man. Always making excuses. It says, know ye not your own selves. How that the Lord, so like how that Yahushua, right, is in you, except ye be reprobates. But I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates. See, a reprobate is somebody that goes to do something, then withdraws from doing it. Then goes to do something and withdraws from doing it. They are reprobate. Their mind is double-minded. You can't trust them. They're all over the place. They're wavering. You don't want to have that mentality and that spirit. Let's go to the mighty book of Revelation, chapter 3, right? In verse number 2. It's Revelation chapter 3 and verse 2. Be watchful and strengthen the things which remain that are ready to die. What is this going to? Examination. For I have not found thy works perfect before God. Remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. So continue to keep watch. Be diligent. Don't make excuses. And when all hell was kind of breaking loose in your life, go to these accounts. Go see how strong our fathers were. Pray, man. Don't think that your prayer isn't doing anything. Hey, Jeremiah thought he was cut off in the dungeon. David thought he was cut off. He said he had more enemies than the hair that was on his head, man. And nobody can number the hairs on your head. Well, let me get this quick precept. I know we're closing out. We get this quick precept real fast in the book of Psalms, chapter 40. It's Psalms chapter 40, right? And I'm going to start at verse 12. For innumerable evils have compassed me about. He said innumerable evils. I can't even count these things, man. I can't count how many times this is happening, that is happening. This is against me and that is against me. It says, mine iniquities have taken hold upon me, man. Check that out. Your sins could catch up with you, and now you're getting judged, so that I am not able to look up. You haven't had the strength in your neck to look up. They are more than the hairs of mine head, therefore my heart failed me. So what did David do when his heart failed him? He couldn't look up. Be pleased, O Yahweh, to deliver me. He still prayed, man. So just because the Lord judging you don't mean you can't pray, or you jammed up, or all hell was breaking loose. That shouldn't withdraw you from praying, man. Right? It says, "O Lord, make haste to help me." That's the first thing he prayed for when his back was against the wall. So that mentality of tomorrow, I'll talk to the Lord after I fast. That's a procrastination spirit that's withdrawing you from the Lord, man. Right? It says, remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come in thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. So Lord willing, my brothers continue to read, pray, fast, hold themselves diligent, not make excuses, and ask the Most High to give you that spirit of zeal and fire shut up in your bones like Jeremiah. Most High willingness was edifying. I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, like Yahushua. Shalom.